Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Spec Talk, but the first episode of 2025. I don't know about you guys. I had the best holiday ever. And by the fact that it was the best holiday means it was the most low-key, simple, and relaxed holiday ever. Alex, how did you do this holiday season?
Well, wonderful. I actually got to spend some time down at St. Simon's Island, Georgia, so I had a blast. Very,
And
very,
was
very
my
fun.
invitation lost somewhere? Was that
Yeah, I think it was
You know,
actually.
it was actually it wasn't too cold up here over Christmas, but it has gotten a lot colder since. So, well, that's
Oh,
good. We'll shake off the cobwebs here. Everybody be if we slip up, you can feel free to give us a hard time in the comment section because we're just getting our legs back under us again. um, I'd like to start by introducing our the beautiful people you see on screen here. So with me, as always, is Alex Bear, Strategic Account Executive here at RIB. You've got myself, yours truly, Dory Azar. I'm a licensed architect and a senior strategic sales specialist here at RIB. And today's guest, who should be familiar to everybody here, is the incomparable Holly Jordan. And I actually wrote a few things about Holly that I wanted to read today because if you don't know who Holly is, we're going to introduce Holly today. So Holly Jordan is an innovative and creative specification writer committed to delivering consistent and quality project specifications, master specifications, and design guidelines. Her passions include mentoring, teaching, and growing new specification writers and leading the way for change and growth in the specifications industry. Welcome again, Holly. Happy New Year. Lovely to have you back for another 60 minutes of awesomeness. How was your holiday, Holly?
It was good. This year was our 20th wedding anniversary, and so Peter and I had a special anniversary trip to Charleston for the holidays. It was wonderful. The weather was beautiful. It was fabulous. The food there is fabulous, y'all. It was amazing.
So I'm the only guy on the panel then that just stayed in his pajamas on the couch all
Apparently.
for the whole
Sigh.
night. All right, all right.
Woohoo.
Well then I should be the most rested here. Okay, let's keep it going, Alex. Let's jump to the next slide here. Show our lovely photos of us that we've already introduced.
Ollie, we could have met up in Savannah in the middle there.
Oh, we should
Or-
have.
Hey, we have planes in Canada. Just give me some heads up. I'll make my way down there. I don't, I'm fine with that. So that is us. Let's jump down to the next slide again, Alex, please. All right, just another reminder that if you would like to submit one of your projects that you've used SpecLink for, you can submit your project to us, and we will take a look at all the submissions and choose a winner. And some of the prizes you can win here are Bluetooth speaker and some other RIB swag as well. So in the materials section of this webinar is a PDF that shows all the information that you need to submit your project there. So check that out and send your projects. Brag to us a little bit. Show us the really cool stuff that you're doing. Next slide, please, Alex. As it gradually fades from one slide to the other. Today, guys, we are talking about, because we have a new year, we're going to talk about our new spec resolution. So we're just going to cover a broad base today of ways that we can really embrace the things that we always wanted to do. So we always have those things. I know resolutions is, losing weight and visiting family more and stuff, but even professionally, I know I always used to have like, you know what, next year I'm going to really try to get better at my rendering or get learn this feature better in this software so I can leverage it. It's there for a reason, and it's there to help improve your productivity. So we're going to talk about that as it relates to SpecLink today. And as always, Holly is going to be here. We can pick her brain for her expertise, and if anybody wants to see anything demonstrated, Alex is here to masterfully walk his way through SpecLink and show us how it's all done. So let's get into SpecLink here, Alex. But Holly, I wanted to start with a couple of questions for you. So over a year, I do a lot of product demos for potential clients. And if there's any potential or any non-SpecLink users right now, I'd love to hear from you in the chats or in the question section. But we get a lot of really interesting reasons that people don't or are reluctant to sign up for new software. So one of the things that we get all the time, and I have my questions here, is that for example, somebody doesn't write specs all the time. So they have a tough time justifying an annual subscription for something that they don't plan on using for 12 months out of the year. How would you respond to a statement like that as it relates to SpecLink?
So I think first off, SpecLink is a very, in my opinion, user friendly. And for someone who's going to maybe on their own specific project write specs once in a while, I think SpecLink is really written toward and set up toward those types of people rather than people like myself who are power users who are going to really customize and do things differently. So it's set up for those who need it to be more simple. Okay, first off, and second, there's a lot of information, and when you go down to part two, and that's where most architectural teams and interior designers start. They start in part two, and that's how SpecLink is set up. Over in the notes pane, there's more information, and there's links to products, and there's cut sheets, and there's links to websites automatically set up. So it can, if you don't write specs all the time, I feel like it's a great resource, informational. You can see how a spec is set up. You can see that there are links. You can see that there are the little yellow notes off to the side. There are explanations about things. And so you can, even if you don't have the project, if you're not writing the project specs, all of this information is there for you to use. Like right here is Clark Dietrich, one of my favorites. Hey, Keith, he's my favorite rep. You can click, in the notes pane, and you can see all of those blue things over there in the left there on your screen in the notes pane. You can click there, and it'll take you right to the websites. Okay, so I think using it as a resource and for information and for speed, I think that's one thing that I could say would justify something like that. Is that a good answer? Did you like my answer?
You don't give bad answers, Holly.
Sometimes I do.
See, I'm gonna be try to be really nice with you this year, and just
Oh,
maybe that's
that'll last
my
about 10
resolution.
minutes.
Yeah, somebody check in with me at about quarter to one, and we'll see we'll see how that goes. So in general, then, like, how would you like? I guess this speaks to kind of a broader question of like just the reluctance to get into something unknown. So whether it's new features or new products or even getting a CDT designation or something like that. Like what's your advice to people who kind of put roadblocks up, self-imposed roadblocks in front of themselves who are maybe making some decisions based in fear or insecurities?
Well, first off, I feel like architects, interior designers, engineers, spec writers are inquisitive by nature. Okay, a good spec writer is inquisitive and wants to try new things and wants to keep up. Okay, and I think if you don't want to try new things, I mean, it's time to stop, right? But I think that using old school Word documents for specs when all of our architectural teams and our engineering teams are using BIM and Revit and all of these like digital
Hmm.
solutions and platforms. I mean, I think why would you not want to try something new? Why would you not? I mean, it's a great recruitment tool in my opinion, trying to get architects or junior spec writers or new spec writers or new people using those old school Word documents when they've been going to school and they're all digital and they're using what is that stuff, TikTok and all that. There's me, old.
I,
So,
I don't
so
believe
I
TikTok is a
mean,
requirement of the school, but I know what you're saying.
you know what I mean. But they're using all of these digital solutions. I mean, I think we need to bring specifications and specification writing into this century because people coming out of school and new employees recruitment wise, if you say, hey, we have all of the most up to date, drawing and BIM and Revit, and we have all of the most up to date specification information, and they may not be writing specifications, but they're reviewing specifications. And if they can go in and look at them online and comment digitally and attach to the BIM and Revit model, that thing is amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
why would you not? We're all looking for new talented employees. I mean, I think it's a great recruitment tool. So that's my short answer.
Yeah, that's a really that answer kind of led my brain to think about, there, and if anybody is on watching today that identifies with this, I'd like to know. But I mean, change has inherently been baked into the industry over the last 40, 50 years. When if there, it wouldn't be unreasonable to have met somebody who started their career hand drafting and ended their career 3D modeling in BIM, right? So the changes that have swept through the industry, the technological changes, the ones that have forced you to upgrade your skill set, we've all had to deal with it. Now, I professionally never had to hand draft. I got into 2D modeling and ended up in 3D modeling. But yeah, at some point, we're all capable of adopting new technologies and smart enough to figure them out. Especially with the resources now. Like, I love SpecLink's guide and help menus. They're so detailed and so full that it's hard for somebody to get stuck, in my opinion, on anything, because everything is always there. So let me hit you with another question, Holly, here, and we'll see how you want to answer this one. This is another excuse, so we're going to debunk another myth here. So why on earth would I pay for a license of SpecLink when I get word processors essentially for free?
You get word processors for free, but you still have to pay for other platforms and other documents. I mean, you're choosing one or the other. And to me, a database system like this, a digital system like this, if you're using Word documents and you edit a spec, you're like deleting stuff. And what you
Hmm.
see is what you get. Here in a database-driven software platform like SpecLink, if I
Hmm.
edit the spec, I turn things off and on. And I just had this discussion with my team this morning. You can share a document with an architectural team and they can only see the things that you have selected in the document. But
Hmm.
why would you do that? What I think is we turn the things on for review that we think are should be in the project, and then there are things in here that are still grayed out, and the architectural teams can see, hey, whoa, you left that out. I want you to add that in, right? Now you can change the view and teach your teammates how to change the view where they can only see things that are active, but they're still there, and you can turn on and see. So a system like this where you're turning off and on and you're showing what you've chosen rather than deleting the stuff that you're not using. I mean, to me, I think it makes editing easier, because if you have something and you delete something, it's gone, and I got to go back to an original, snip it out, put it in, the formatting gets all janky, you know, the same.
So let me ask you this, and how many times would you say in your while you're working in SpecLink, when you go from normal view to active view, and then you're like, oh man, I got to go back to normal view to activate that thing that I forgot to go back to put it back in active view? And Alex, if you want to show, maybe for those who aren't big users of the active view feature there.
Yep.
Sometimes I like to
Yeah.
switch back and forth just to see how big and how long the document is and how it looks. But I usually write this way. I leave the stuff that I haven't chosen in, because as I'm cursoring down through, I'm like, whoa, I forgot that. I
Oh,
want to
okay.
put that on. Yeah.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
I
Okay.
usually leave it in the view that he shows, but I like to switch back and forth and take a look and see how it looks also,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
because that's really like a good kind of print preview almost, minus the colors and stuff. But
Right.
yeah, that kind of gives you a
Yeah.
good look there. We're
Hmm.
gonna jump away from the questions real quick because I got a great statement from Ben here, who I want to read it for you, Holly, and maybe see
Okay.
how we can help Ben out here. Because if anybody's got any questions in general about how we can help your spec writing journey and your process with Holly and Alex here, we should be able to get you guys the information you need. So Ben writes, I'd love some dialogue around newer groups getting started on SpecLink. We're struggling with getting our firm up to speed with our word-based specs and transferring over to SpecLink. We have a big barrier of how to make smart specs like RIB has created, but also don't want to just scrap our specs we've utilized for 50 plus years. That is, I'm sure, a concern that resonates with a lot of new users who've been writing specs for decades, and then who have embraced the change, who say, yeah, you know what, we do want to move forward with the technology and do things better, smarter, faster, but how do we make sure that we don't trip over ourselves and make a bigger mess than when we started?
Okay, so I do this all the time, every day, importing Word documents that I have. I have certain my masters are all user sections. I use the SpecLink sections and I keep them completely up to date for reference. That's my choice. Okay, you can use the SpecLink sections and customize them as a hybridized section. There are so many different choices. Personally, at my firm, we choose to have our own documents. So first off, I'm just gonna say this, y'all gonna kill me, but SpecLink, y'all drive me crazy. Every time I turn around, you add some newfangled thing, right? So previously, you imported everything, and then you livened your reference standards, you fixed your choice fields, you livened your units of measure so you could flip back and forth. So the first thing that happened was, oh, well, they made it where you could import and the reference standards imported and set themselves up. I'm like, okay, well, minus one step. There we go. That's fixed. And then they have it now. I mean, every time I think turn around, they've added something. They've added something new. They keep it up to date. So now, if you import a section, there's like little buttons on the import menu that it will liven your reference standards and set up the reference standards article. It will make your choice fields for you. It will do your units of measure. It'll set those up for you. So as we've gone along, even over the last 6 months with SpecLink, they are making it easier and easier and easier to automate. Okay, so so I mean, I find it really easy. Just I import my things, and I will tell you that right now, I called in my entire team. I have 8 people, 9 people here, and I called everybody in, and we're actually having this discussion right now. The first step is to create a linking and tagging plan for your document. How are you going to do your document? So we were just going through our document and saying, okay, for our firm, here's how we're setting up. So step one is, okay, what's important and how are you going to set up your document? And then you import them in and you just divide and conquer. So that's what we're doing right now today. While I'm in here, they're out there.
Interesting.
Does that
Listen,
answer
so
the question?
well, it contributes to the question, and I'm gonna keep building on this subject here of getting things going, the momentum of a new year and new ideas. So another comment we got in is from Greg, and he's building upon what Ben just said. And Greg says, my point of anxiety is about making the leap from our very customized Word spec sections to fully adopting Office Masters and SpecLink. I know
Mm-hmm.
that recent updates have been made to make the import process of custom sections. Can you give us an overview of how to jump in with both feet? Um, so I'm pretty sure what Greg's asking here is in that conversion, right? From Word into SpecLink. Alex, do you have that sample section that we can kind of walk through a sample import and maybe some of the um,
Yeah.
I want to. I was going to say coding, but probably more formatting that's required in the Word file prior to bringing it into SpecLink.
So prior to bringing it in, there's just a few rules, things like having the section number and the section name is the first portion of the specification. You have to have end of section towards the end of the tail end of the section. So there's some basic things that are inherent for what a specification would look like. But we do have a short video that describes kind of how that process works.
The biggest
So there's
killer is section breaks. If your specs have section breaks in them, oh yeah, make sure you don't have any page breaks or section breaks in your documents. That will clear up half the battle there. Just FYI.
sure.
All right. So
And
Alex,
then
you're
you have the
showing us.
ability,
Yep.
yeah, you do have the ability as well to turn everything on, which I know is important to a lot of users that have their spec section sort of flushed out. So you can have everything sort of pre-selected out of the gate if you would like. So then you're more or less kind of removing the things that are not needed versus adding things that are needed into the specification. And then you have the ability that you can add, your linking to the specs. You can certainly kind of format the specification as needed. So there's a lot of different options. You can turn on reference standards so that the system automatically um, assign the correct standard to the specification, so that's automatically kept up to date. So a lot of different options for importing, or when you import it, how it's brought in and what's connected.
And I
And
use this as a teaching tool for my junior level, my beginners. Okay, so I have them import, and it's faster. I'm faster, and I can import and like clean these up and get it done quickly. But also, it's a great learning tool. Okay, when I have them import and go down and check and look at the documents, so that they can learn the document, so that they can understand what's in the document. So I use it as a teaching tool also.
I'm just going to jump in here for a quick second, guys, and I'm going to post in the chat the help, the link to our help menu about importing Word files into SpecLink. I'm getting a lot of comments, a lot of questions in the chat and the Q&A about where to find that. So if everybody wants to, just post it in the chat right now. That's going to bring you to our knowledge base and give you. It's a wonderfully detailed article, a lot of screenshots, a lot of step by step, and I believe it does conclude with a video also. Um, yes, it does conclude with a video on how to do it as well. So if anybody's looking to have sort of their checklist or their yellow brick road on how to get their specs from Word into SpecLink as smooth as possible, check the chat for the link that I just posted. And I'd like to thank Gary Christensen for posting that.
Call and ask someone. Spec writers, I've found generally as a whole, people who are like myself, there are other people who are like, power users. Call and ask. I'll answer your question. All the other spec writers will answer your questions. I spoke to someone yesterday. She was like, "Well, I'm trying to import and do this exact thing. What do I do?" I mean, we had like a 20-minute discussion about, okay, do this, do this, do this. I mean, call and ask. People are like really great and will help you. Just
Oh,
make
that's
friends with a spec writer, huh?
And at the end of this, we're going to have Holly's contact information available if anybody does want to reach out. Alex, real quick, Greg's asking how you pre-selected everything to be turned on at the import. Was that a sort of a import setting that
Mhm.
It
one
is,
can?
yeah. So when you go to import, new,
Can you walk us
import
back?
from
Sorry, Alex.
Word,
Can you? Yeah, there you go.
and then specification section. So that's sort of your preamble to get you rolling. And then you'll be able to choose right here at the bottom to click on this to choose the actual Word document to import. But up above, you can see we have different options of how to sort of prep the section, what we want our importing tool to do to convert, certain things, make certain intelligent choices and things. But up here at the very top, you can see it says auto select all paragraphs of the section. So if I turn that off, everything's turned off. If I turn it on,
Mhm.
everything's turned on in the section out of the
Excellent.
box.
Very good. Thanks, Alex. Thanks for demonstrating that. This seems to be a very popular. Guys, I'm reading all the questions as fast as I can. I'm trying to get to everybody. So, but I'm loving the passion about importing from Word. It's just a sign that people are, users are excited to move
Mhm.
over and have all of this automated as well. So, can we? A question I've gotten before, and I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask Alex. How do tables import from Word? So if somebody's got a table, of content or information in their Word file, does that come over pretty smooth on the import as well?
Depends on how big the table is. They come over
Ah,
pretty well. You might need to like move your lines and do a little manipulating. Now, let's talk about our engineering friends, guys. Seriously,
love
our
love our
engine,
engineer friends. Let's be clear
but
here. Hold on.
their documents have a lot of tables. I just imported a document, y'all. It was 122 pages, a Word file. Okay.
Okay.
It was part three was pretty much all tables. It did take some time. If your table is layout is really long, okay, and it's like your page layout flips from landscape to the other one. Anyway, um, you can't really do that. So if you have like a really wide table, it's a little bit more difficult. But overall, the tables will import fairly nicely. You might need to like manipulate and move your lines all the time. And if you have questions and need help with that, I mean, there are people like myself who do it all the
Hmm.
time who can help you with that.
So on that note, another question that just came in from Steve, and I believe I know the answer for this, but I think I'm going to well, I'll point to both of you guys and ask you both. When somebody imports a Word file, do they lose the ability to have the automatic updates available, or is there a way to link a reference standard so that it's still being updated automatically?
So the reference standards, if you liven them or if you import it, sorry Alex, if they're livened, when you import them live, you click that button, okay? If you do that, okay, in a user section, you'll get the notification that something's been updated. But that's the only thing on a true user section that you'll get the notification for updates. As long as they're live in your user section, either import them in or liven them yourself.
Okay, so there is a way to still receive those.
Yep.
Excellent. Oh, look at these
Sorry,
questions that are
Alex.
flying in. I love
No
the
worries.
I love when we get the questions going here. All right. So, um, which question do I want to do next? Geez, Holly,
He's looking for the hardest one to try to stump you.
hardest
That's
one,
yeah.
hardest one. I'm seeing a lot of familiar names here, but as oh, actually, one from Gary here. He says there's a few. So I put that link in the comments for the importing, but Gary, who is our in-house training guru, said there are a few importing Word doc articles and videos. The preparing one is awesome! Exclamation mark! If you got an exclamation mark at a Gary, you know it's a good
Ooh.
article. So yeah,
Hi,
just dive
Gary.
into the the guide menu there. And Alex, if you could just show people where it is up there and the top right next to your initials there. Uh,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I will. Yep, no problem. Uh,
There it is.
there it is. So yeah, um, that only works if you have a SpecLink license. So if you are watching and do not have a SpecLink license, you will not be able to access. Even if somebody sends you a link, you still won't be able to check all that out. So we got to sign you up for a demo or something. And on that note, if anybody is not currently a SpecLink user and is interested in becoming one, you can reach out to Alex or I to walk you through that, give you a nice one-on-one demo, answer all your questions, and go from there. So let's see. Here's a question from Madeline. Thank you, Madeline. It's about footers. And it says, when setting up a footer, is there a way I can get the section name to stay all caps when I select all caps? That seems like it should be an easy solution, but the fact that it's a question might mean there's a little trick to it.
I think that's in your summary of your setup documents. When you set it up, you can set it up to do that way.
Okay,
Or it can be set up as a global term. That's a Gary question. Gary!
Gary can hear you, but he can't talk back right now. So, um, oh, thank you, Ben. Ben said this is fantastic information. Thank you. No problem, Ben. We're happy to be here for you guys, and just want to show you guys that we're listening. If the questions are coming through, and you guys have some comments or ideas, and I will take. Okay, hold on. I was going to save this for the end, but this is such a great time to say this now too. Um, if anybody is on here that would like to be considered as a guest for a future spec talk, so if you have a knowledge base or a unique way of approaching things and you want to share your knowledge with the world, by all means drop us a note and let's talk about having you on as a future guest. Sometimes we like to give Holly a break, and
Yeah.
when she picks on us too much, we like to maybe take a week off or something to rebuild our mojo. So
Well, yeah, it's important to have different people who do things differently. I mean, somebody might do something a little bit differently than the way I do it, and I'm like, ooh, I never thought about it that way. So it's always good to have different opinions and different ideas on how to do things. Yeah.
hmm Oh, here's a great question. This is one that Steve is asking, and I hope we can help him. It says, "Is there a way to have the state show up as an abbreviation and not the full spelled out name?"
I would assume you use a global term, right?
Yeah, should be able to.
Well, let's help Steve out and save some digits there. Characters, not digits.
Okay, yeah, so we can just go ahead right here and make that initials. Yeah, that's easy peasy.
Yeah. Sweet.
So I miss. So we got that. We were able to province state. There we go.
Huh?
Cool.
Man, there's nothing you can't do, Alex. Jeez.
Go
Here's a
Alex.
question. Here's a question from David. David is asking, I want to create a form. Can I import a PDF? And can I create a form in SpecLink?
I don't think you can import I'm not sure if you can import a PDF, but I import forms all the time. And the forms are great because you can fill in the forms. So if you have a form that you imported in, and it has blanks for filling in information, you can do that. I do that. I love that. I remember back when we didn't have that, when they added it, I was like, yeah.
So while we're here, also, Jim is asking, is there a tutorial video that I could use to train people in my office on SpecLink? There absolutely are, and I wish Gary is here to rattle off all the different ways. But we do have 1 hour and 3 hour um, webinars that I believe happen live monthly, but they are also pre-recorded as well that you can access through the guide. Alex, are you aware of the 1 hour and 3 hour um, training sessions that are available through the guide?
Yeah, yeah, that's actually just a mechanism of GTSing. So um, just Google that stuff. But yeah, you can just that's on our website.
All right, so
hmm And we've got both a 1 hour and a 3 hour, and
Oh, neat.
they're on demand,
mhm.
and we also do provide a recorded version as well. So if you aren't able to make the live one, yep, we have a pre-recorded version, but the 3 hour and the 1 hour.
All right,
Cool.
so I'm going to find that link there, and I'm going to paste it in the comments so that everybody has access to it. So um, RIB software training. So yeah, that is that to answer Jim's question. I think that's probably the best way to start is do the 1 hour and 3 hour training modules and see how that that could help your team get up and running, possibly the quickest way. And Gary's just all caps writing down the side here, like quick start button,
Gary.
monthly and on demand, unmute me, LOL, go in the guide. So it's all there. It's all a quick Google search away or a guide search away. Oh, I can just see Gary twitching in the background now. Like, somebody give me a microphone.
Go, Gary.
Uh, so here's a question from Steven. Is there a way to change the questions on starting a project where I could specify or remove irrelevant questions? The way I'm reading that is when you create a new project, it prompts you to do, the location and whatnot, area of a building, budget, things like that. Is there a way to customize this part of the process?
You can customize everything. Mine are
Oh,
completely customized.
so
It's just a
the
matter
screen that
of,
Al,
yeah, it's just a matter of, oh, those questions right there.
yeah,
Oh, yeah. I vote yes for doing that. Let's do it. I thought you meant in the body of the specs. Not really. I just put other.
just
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that.
I would like more customization on that too, I think. But I mean, it does so many other great things that I just let it go on that one.
Yeah, he's
They've improved it. I mean, they've improved it. I mean, they've changed it and improved it as they've gone along. I mean,
that would be an interesting thing to customize. Stephen, I'm going to ask you another question here. What would you change? What information would you feel? What would you take out and what would you put in? That would be an interesting. I'd like to, some of those early questions that people are being prompted to is um, what would they be
work
able
type,
to do? Yeah, if you had your
work,
way.
work type,
Hmm.
different project types. What if it's an engineering project?
Hmm. But these questions would still apply. I'm just wondering that maybe
Yeah.
there's more specific ones. Budget is irrelevant. Size is irrelevant. Um, City, yes. Project type, yes. So maybe some of the ones that,
Can there be like
um,
a more fill in the blank, a more fill in the blank for a more specific square footage?
yeah, because it's kind of interesting the way we can right click and customize, say, an options field or a choice field
Mhm.
or something like that. It'd be interesting. It's an interesting thought to have users customize this front end checklist here.
Just a fill in the blank box. And all of these things are great, but just like maybe a fill in the blank box where you can just type in what you want.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Here's another question that came in from Zachary, and Zachary's asking, is it possible to copy a portion of a section rather than line by line?
I think you can. Can't you? You can copy a section and tell it to copy only the activated parts of the section. So whatever. I think from project to project. You mean?
That's all the information that I had was, is it possible to copy a portion of a section rather than line by line? So we can ask Zachary if go ahead, Holly, if you want something to elaborate it on. Oh, it's saying
I
a
think
full paragraph within a section.
if it's turned on, if it's the only thing turned on, I would assume so. That's what I think. I mean, I think you can copy, or if you're talking about just copying information from, like, if you just want to copy this information and you have this section open and you have another tab open, you can copy the paragraph and insert the paragraph.
Okay. Is that are you demonstrating that right now, Alex?
Well, yeah, I was just showing how you can copy an entire paragraph.
Yeah.
Okay. Could you
So
could
so
you
the
walk
thing
us through it out?
is here's the thing you have to learn on that. If you're copying a whole paragraph, doing a control V and a control C and a control V, that doesn't do it. You block it off and you right click and you have to click copy paragraph,
Mm,
paste paragraph, rather
yeah.
than the control C and control V. I learned this the hard way.
Control C and Control V are so intuitive across
Right.
just computing in general, right? So yeah, I would have I
Yeah.
would have
Copy
gone.
paragraph, paste paragraph. That's the way you can paste a whole paragraph of information.
Okay. Valerie is saying you can copy a branch. So Valerie, thank you
Mhm.
for jumping in there and
Yeah.
um, let me copy a branch. Cool. I just had another section lined up and I lost it. It's so weird because the comments come in and they like I'm reading one question and three questions come in and bumps my comment down. So I gotta go back and hunt it out again. It was about a date and showing a date differently. Where did that go? No. And sometimes I only get little previews of it, so it was about showing. I think it was an abbreviation of the date. Here, I'm gonna ask: is it possible, or can it be changed so that you can edit the term name of the global terms? Oh, that's interesting. Is it possible, or can it be changed so that you can edit the term name of the global terms? I think you can create your own global terms and just
Yeah.
use whatever
Mhm.
word you want to represent something else, right?
Yep.
So yes, Matthew, it is possible when you create your own. Now, for example, there's a global term called architect. Once it's established as architect, can you go in there and change, like rename it from architect to um, architecture or whatever, edit the spelling
I
of
think you'd
something?
have
If
to
you
create one
so you
and
can't
use
you
that one.
can't rename a
I don't
global
think
term.
I don't think you can. I'm not sure. That's a good question. See, this is why we
Alex,
have these things because I'm
this
like,
is
I don't
why we
know.
do these things. Alex, are
Yeah,
you aware? Can you rename a global term?
Yeah,
I
well,
don't
that's
think
architect. You can
So absolutely, you can rename a global term.
right there, but
absolutely. Uh-huh.
you
But the
can't change
word
the names of the green ones, so
Yeah, the
right?
term name next to it says architect. Can you change that
I don't think you can, but you can
name?
create a user one,
Right.
right?
Oh, once it's
So that would
created,
be.
you're
Yeah, once you create it, it's there. But you could create a new one.
Mhm.
um
I just started the
oh,
Okay.
gate as
Matthew said that's what I
architecture.
want. Yes. Yes. So term
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
So I
But the
looked
other
away for
one's
a second.
always
Was that a new
there.
one?
Yeah.
Did you create a new one or is that a
Uh-huh.
rename?
Create. You can't rename ones that are
Okay.
existing, I don't think, but you can create new
Right.
ones.
Okay. So there, Matthew, I hope that helps. Okay. Gary. Oh my God, Gary, we should have had you on today. We gotta
Oh,
make sure
Gary.
next time you can change the value, but you can't change the
Am I
term
wrong,
name.
Gary? Were we wrong?
No, Gary confirmed the things that you were saying. Even Alex Fulton's here. Got the. I feel like the whole the A team is behind us here, helping us out, making sure everybody's getting the right answers that they need.
Hey, you know what
Um,
the number one thing I learned from Gary is, and I know Gary will be so proud of you for doing this. One of the things Gary teaches first is the first thing that you do is you move the when you have a question, you move that information over to the far left. So the videos and the questions and everything, that tab is always on the far left, and you can always go to that. So that's one thing I learned from Gary. Gary,
ah.
give me a star of the day, Gary.
Here's a I think a good question we can help Lan with. So Lan is saying, is it possible to do a global term across all projects, like our architectural firm? So the way I'm reading that is let's say you created something within a project, a global term, and you thought, oh, this would be great to put maybe back in our master. Is there a way to transfer a global term from one project to another, or would that have to be recreated in the master and then used moving forward?
I would think the best way would be to put it in the master and then use it going forward.
So, but if you're already started a project, so you've taken your master, you've created a new project from it, you're working in this one, you said, "Oh, I need a global term for architecture." And then you use it and you're like, "Hey, this is really good. I should put this back in my master." What's what's the best way to get it back in your master? Should you just recreate it?
Well, I mean, when you do the drop down for global terms, aren't they always there? I mean,
That's a
all of these ones that are on there are always there. I would assume that it's once you create one in your documents, they're there in that drop down menu.
So I
That's
guess
what
it
I
leads
think.
to the question of are global terms project specific, or are they is it a database uh, that
Of
you can access from
choices.
any one of your projects?
That's what I think. That
Oh,
they're
Yeah,
there
they're a
once
database.
yeah.
But I mean,
Once you
you have to apply them to, you know, a project. So you drag and drop them in.
they're created,
Um,
they're always there once you create it. You just have to use them.
right.
Okay, Valerie is sharing her experience with us. Valerie, I know, thank you for being so active in today's Spec Talk. Global terms are global and will be in all projects. Past
Yeah,
experience in brackets. Love the
yeah.
experience being brought to the table.
Mhm.
Fantastic. Um, and Alex is here. Any user-made global terms are retained in all projects, but the
Mhm.
values of the global terms are project-specific only. That's a really important difference. So the term is in all projects, but you can change the value in each project,
Yeah.
which makes good sense, right?
Yep.
Very, very proud of you, Holly, for putting the guide tab to the left. You got a yay, Holly, all caps, all exclamation marks. That's
Yay! Yeah, I
so.
learned that from Gary, and I tell people that all the time. It's very important to do that because then you don't have to go hunting for it. It's always there.
I'm absolutely loving Spec Talk today because I love when the question section blows up and it gives me I'm all like frantic and trying to read all the questions and listen to Holly and Alex given the great information. So Holly, let me ask you a question that might sort of start to summarize some of the questions here because we're pushing the end of our Spec Talk today. If you had a new employee start tomorrow who had has maybe architecture or engineering experience but not a lot of spec writing experience, what are like in big bullet points, like what's the path you would use to get them up to speed on becoming useful in the office as a spec writer?
So first off, move the tab over because all of the informational videos are there. Um, and then we want to create a sandbox. Okay, I always create a dummy project. Okay, a sandbox for them to play along with. So while they're looking at the videos or looking at the information, they can play along and play with it. And I tell people turn off and on. You can't break anything, right? And if you break it, then you call the fabulous IT people or the fabulous people at SpecLink, and they can help you fix it again, right? So one of the things is if you're going to import, we want to teach people to import sections. So we want to get people comfortable turning things off and on. I tell people like, let's look at the colors. Anything that's like blue, it does something. Either it's a drop down menu that has a choice field, or it's a click and it'll take you to the reference standards. Figure out how to move around in it. Look at the notes. See the little orange pages over there. And move around and look around in it. So I start people with importing a section because that can be very informative. I teach people to look at the notes. I tell people um, turn things off and on to get comfortable in the documents. Look at the videos and ask questions. Is that helpful?
Yeah,
And then I like
absolutely.
get in a pool and swim.
Well, and then David has chimed in with take a CSI course or CSC course. Love the Canadian reference. Best investment ever made.
Right.
So yeah, there are also structured courses that you can take that would
Mhm.
sort of walk you through. Um, what is the typical path on a CDT course? Um, is it about 10 weeks or so of courses? Holly,
Oh
how are you
Lord,
seeing?
I can't do that. I do
No?
boot camp. I do boot
Ah,
camp,
okay.
and so I can only I mean some you could do like a whole day long 8 hour course, but that's like oh so overwhelming. So I do 4 hours. I give
Okay.
people the in between week to kind of marinate on it and decide oh my gosh I know this stuff or oh I need to study more, and then I do the second half. I do it in two parts because honestly time is so there's so much to do in such little time. In my opinion, doing a 2 hour long class once a week, everybody has the best of intentions and they go ahead and they like sign up for it and they're like gung ho and they do two, maybe three classes and then they kind of fall off. So I do
Yeah.
half and half. That's how I do it. There are a lot of other options for people. Um, there are a lot of online options. I teach in person because I like to see, I can see when somebody has a deer in the headlights look and they don't understand something, but they're afraid to ask. And let's be real, if you're teaching online class, I start to wander and I start answering emails and doing other stuff and not paying attention. So I teach in person, but that's just me.
So if I'm going to
There's
learn
lots
from
of
you,
options.
I got to fly myself down to Texas and sit in a room.
Yes.
Okay. But is a hard time included in the cost of the course? Like, do I have to pay extra for
Yes.
you to give me a hard time or?
No. I have a few special people that I've sat. Like last year, I taught somebody on Mother's Day weekend. I sat and did a one-on-one video because he's in Maine and I'm in Texas, and so I did teach because if it's one-on-one video, online, then I can tell if he's paying attention or not. But I have done that before, but I like to teach in person. There are other people. I mean, there are so many other options. Like, choose what works best for you.
Mhm. All right. So we have a question here from Adrienne. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Asking about the recordings of these. So yes, they are all recorded and they are all uploaded.
Oh
So
no.
oh yeah, so Holly, um, your knowledge is baked into the internet for the rest of
Oh.
eternity. So yes, we will. If you look in the materials section of this webinar, there is a PDF handout, a one-page handout, and if you look there, there is access to the video library. There's a QR code that you can scan that will bring you to all of the pre-recorded sessions, and that should be updated. It's usually tomorrow when that happens. So you can keep your eyes peeled for that because it is a very helpful resource. And sometimes I go back and like when I messed up Alex's name in December, I kind of went back and relived that moment a little bit. That's so funny. Well, funny for me because I made the mistake. I didn't insult, Alex. I wasn't the one being insulted with a different name. So please share the link for the
No, you
recordings.
weren't.
Okay, no, okay, all right. Here, let me grab that link for the recordings, and we're gonna get that in everybody's hands. So where is my bookmark here? There we go. Copy. I'm gonna put that in the chat here, everyone. So if you are looking for the link to previous recordings, you will find it right there. Um, Handout just has QR codes. Yeah, so you would scan the QR code, it would bring you there. But if you want to follow the link in the chat, you are welcome to do that there as well. So I think we have 5 minutes. How do we go? I swear, last time I looked at the time, it was like 12:17 p.m.
Yeah.
and now it's 12:55. So we have to start wrapping this up. Alex, if you could jump back to the presentation and
Mhm.
we'll wrap this up here for everybody. So jumping through, we do have specific SpecLink training, guys. So this we had this slide ready to go, but I think it's now as important as ever based on today's comments. So we do have the 1 hour and 3 hour long training sessions. They're available live once a month, but on demand whenever you need them. There is also paid training sessions if you needed some one-on-one coaching. Those are available through us or through Holly. I'm sure Holly can offer that service
Mhm.
for you as well. So the point is to never leave you guys stranded. There's always access to information here to keep you guys going. Next slide, please, Alex. And yeah, like I mentioned earlier, but I'll reiterate it right now. If you would are interested in being a guest, if you want to sit up here with Alex and I and have people throw questions at you
And have Dory
nonstop,
hassle
six
you.
to straight minutes. Yeah, there is some requirements. You do have to give me a hard time over the whole process, but otherwise, it'll be a great experience. So if anybody has some specific expertise they want to share with the world, put themselves out there, and perhaps just get their name out in the spec writing industry, this is available to you. So drop us an email, and we'd love to hear from you. Next slide, please, Alex. And if you were looking to get in touch with Holly Jordan, the lovely, generous, intelligent guest that we've had on with us today, her email address is on the screen here. You can reach out to her, and Holly, what are some of the things that people are reaching out to you for lately?
Customization, personalized training,
Okay.
and just general overview questions.
Okay.
Yeah,
Excellent. So if
just a
that
little
sounds good to
support.
you, just a
Mhm.
little hug, a little digital hug, keep you going.
Yeah.
Our next Spec Talk will be Wednesday, January 22nd. So we hope to see all of you guys at another one. This one has been. I'm scrolling through the comments. It's been a long time since I've seen this many questions come through. So I love it. I appreciate the engagement. Hello to Bill, who was chatting with me earlier today as well about CDT courses before we came on live today. Thank you all for your questions, your comments, your feedback, suggestions, everything. Alex, you good? Anything you want to add before we wrap up?
No, just happy New Year's to everybody, and we're looking forward to having you for many more Spec Talks in 2025. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you again. Alex, you're always such a rock star and willing to just jump in whatever we we throw it in the air there for you to demonstrate for us. I appreciate it. Holly, as always, I'm going to be nice now, Holly. It's always a treat to
Oh,
have you on and
thanks.
chat with you and pick your brain. And what they say, when you tease somebody, you actually really like them. So you're the best, Holly. Thanks for being here and bantering with us. We will see you all on the 22nd. So in the meantime, hang in there. Best of luck with those guides and help menus. 1 hour, 3 hour training, it's all there. If you need any help, reach out to any one of us and we'll point you in the right direction. Thank you all. Have the best start to 2025 ever, and we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Take care.